Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for the great feedback from the first video. I've now had the bike for about 3 weeks, got sick there. It's been Canadian winter. We had some snow. Snow's gone because I'm in Nova Scotia out east. It's not too bad. And I've managed to put 4.9 hours on it, and I do about 15 minutes of static balance twice a day, so about half an hour a day of static balance. That's coming along good. But in that time, I've also found a few little things on the bike as I've been working on it and learning more about it that weren't necessarily in the manual or even on the internet. So let me walk you through a couple little bits and pieces that I found, a couple little hidden gems, and things I've learned about it, and get you up to speed with where things are with the bike. One of the first things you'll notice on the GasGas, and no criticizing my milk crate with the wood on it for the stand, is that it needs it uses a lot of Torx hardware. So when I first got the bike, I got a socket set. It ranges from 10 to 50. I've used everything except the 50, so even the 45 for the rear axle. I also got, there's a Black Friday special, so it came in a few days later, a T-handle set, and I really like, I'm used to using T-handles on normal cap head screws, so I like them. And also these ones feature a, it's below freezing out here, so it's a little cold. They also feature a Torx on the side, so you can tighten and loosen using that, and then flip it around and use it as a normal T-handle. So I like that style of thing. A couple little hidden gems I found in the bike are, one really cool one is on, I went to put on bar ends, the little jitsy ones that go into the end of the grip, and found that there's a little bearing in there. So in the end of the bar, there's a cap, and on the end of the throttle tube, there's a male peg, and there's a little needle bearing between the two to keep the throttle smooth over long rides, and the throttle should stay smooth and consistent because it's not running on the bar. So that's a nice little feature in there. So it didn't put the cap on because there's actually a large aluminum disc underneath here that holds the pin, meaning that it's not going to puncture through. And they even thought about the left side. On the left side there's a plastic cap that goes in the end of the bar, covers the whole end of the bar. So you're not dealing with, it's not working like a hole punch. If you drop it, it could obviously still rip the grip, but they did think about that. So nice little feature there. And again, these are genuine Renthal grips, so that's very nice. Another nice thing that I found when looking around the bike a little bit more is that this is the Regina EBXL, their high-end, they call it the professional line chain. I believe these, the GasGas used to come with an iris chain, which wasn't always liked. So this is nice that it comes with this really high-end chain. That's a nice little feature it has in it. Of course, it comes with the FIM rear sprocket. Another thing that I found, we know that it's got Brake Tech Masters, it's got Brake Tech calipers, it comes with NG discs, and I also pulled it off to find out that there's Galfer pads in there. I really wasn't sure what pads there were, so those are genuine Galfer pads in there. And let me just show you on the rear disc. Yeah, these are NG discs. So brakes are great. It was nice to find those Galfer pads in there. So with the bearing, the chain, and the pads, that was some nice little gems that I found inside the bike that weren't documented, and I was really happy to see. The bike has 4.9 hours on it, as you can see, which means that it should be due for an oil change. The gearbox oil change, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet or not, because you can see it's still really pretty crystal blue in there. It has gotten darker over the last hour of running, but still it doesn't look very dirty. Of course, I'm a beginner and I'm not using the bike hard by any means, so I'm not sure if that has any impact on it. I was going to wait a little while and change the oil later, but I have read that it changes the clutch grip point, so maybe I will be changing it a little bit sooner. But out for a ride with the guys on Saturday in a couple of days, and I'll probably change it after that. As I said, I've been doing mostly static balance, as you can see by the dark spot here. That's the front, never mind the oil spot, that's my dad. But the dark spot here, that's the tires, where I've worn the little nubs off these types of nubs here. I've worn them off the tire by doing a lot of work. I do a couple of 15 minutes a day on the bike, and it's really improving my balance, and I'm really happy with the progress. A couple things I found is that I'm 185 pounds and just over 6 foot tall. So what I've done is I flipped these bar clamps. I flipped them around so it mounts the bar forward, which allows me to mount the bar a little straighter, so it'll be a little taller, so I don't have to bend over as much. I've rotated the bars so that the end of the bar is in line. Not sure how well that's going to show up in line with the fork, which I believe is what is considered pretty neutral in trials. It's kind of like a 0 point. What else have I done? Oh, probably makes no difference to anybody, but just for my own reference, when the bike is on the ground, the levers I adjusted to 24 degrees. I put the plumber's tape, the Teflon tape, underneath. The theory is that if you hit the lever hits the ground, it's going to want to spin on this before it wants to break anything. I'm not sure how true that is, but figured it was really cheap to try, so that's been done. An important thing is the rear spring. As I said, I'm 185 pounds. That's without my riding gear on. So I was concerned that the spring might be too soft. This is factory preload setting, and checking the static droop. Static sag is what it should be, and with me on it, it's about 68-70 millimeter of race sag, meaning that spring is right at that preload is right for me. So the static sag is good, the race sag is good, so that's good for 185 pounds. I think that's information that's not necessarily out there. I thought that would be important to share. Apart from that, everything is really good. I haven't had any real issues with starting it, apart from once. I was out in the quarry and I stopped it, moved a couple of rocks in a section, and it took me about 6 or 7 kicks to get it going. Apart from that, it's usually second kick, unless I really whiff one of them, and then it's the third kick and it always starts. So I definitely feel the pain. I felt it that one time, but it hasn't been bad apart from that one thing. One thing I find is a black gas tank is really weird. Can't see the gas level. Maybe that's standard on most trials bikes because they're small tanks and they tend to be tucked in, but a bit of a pain not knowing how much fuel is in there. I tend to just fill it up before I go out somewhere to make sure that I know that it's full. Here we only have 91 octane. I can't get 94 locally unless I would go to see the stock car guys and get race fuel, but I can only get 91, so I've been mixing this at the recommended 1.5% with 91. It sounds okay for the time being. I think it's actually slightly rich, so I'm not really worried about anything on that. And apart from that, I think that's it. That's just a short little video to show you where I am. A couple little things that I found that I thought would be cool to share. I thought it was important also to share about the race sag, because that was a question that I definitely had when looking around the bike. If you have any more questions, anything I didn't cover or something I covered poorly, please let me know, and I'll either get back to you in the comments or I'll add it into a future video to clarify everything. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope this was useful for you, and speak to you again soon.